In your life, who uses more words? I don't want you to look this up on Google. Just think in your house, in your work time, in your leisure time, who uses more words, men or women? Today, I want to show you some specific reasons why I personally don't recommend talk therapy alone. You'll see why in a minute. Let's go. Let me start with this. Does talking about something make a disrespectful person more respectful? Nope. No. Does talking through an issue make a lazy person who's naturally just lazy more productive? No. Nope. Does talking through an issue take someone who is naturally irresponsible and make them a responsible person? No. Nope. Let me give you a caveat. For some people, talk therapy does wonders. So today I'm only going to be speaking about what you would find in the middle of the bell curve. In other words, what affects the most people of both sexes. Let me give you a scenario. So you're having an argument. Things aren't going too well. And as you well know, when you have an argument, sometimes it gets a little bit quiet. You could be sitting there contemplating things, but you're not speaking to each other. And then eventually somebody might say, "Hey guys, have you ever thought of going to counseling?" Yep. We're going to therapy. I'm going to be giving you a lot of statistics here, and you can write these down if you want to. But remember that roughly 85-86% of women will seek out therapy in this area, whereas men, only about 14, maybe 15% of men will actively seek out therapy of any kind. One of the big reasons here I need you to understand is that women generally tend to process verbally, and they don't mind sharing their struggles with their friends and getting feedback from other people and asking questions about what their friends think that would be best for a resolution for the problems. But men, on the other hand, we tend to be a little bit more stoic. We will generally not seek a lot of outside input because we tend to want to think through the problems without a lot of input from other people, at least at first. You might ask yourself, is this something that men are just sort of expected to do and women are sort of expected to do? What I would like to submit to you here is that many people believe that when you're dealing with an issue, talking is punishment. And I have statistics to back that up. Now, this is Marsha Linehan. She's a creator of dialectical behavior therapy. And she used to use this as a punishment. When someone would miss an appointment or show up late, she would not permit the therapy to continue until it was exhaustively talked about. She would literally use up the entire time of the session talking about the problem, why they didn't show up, why they were late, why there was this, why there was that. And she would use talking as a deterrent, yes, as a punishment, and it works. But it's only temporary. The reason why is that people began to change their behavior because they didn't want the consequence of having to talk about it. So talking literally became punitive. Now let me show you some more statistics here. Let me show you from the National Library of Medicine. Look what it says here. Men are often initially ambivalent towards psychological treatment, and they drop out of services prematurely. The impact of dropout and negative treatment experiences risk deferral or avoidance of services in the future. Now look at this. Notice it says here, unfortunately, as anyone who's actually tried can tell you, therapy often sucks. Anywhere from 50 to 75% of people who go to therapy report some benefit, and at least 5% of clients get worse as a result of treatment. For people of marginalized groups, harmful outcomes may be even more common, and the remainder report no clear benefit at all. Let's do the math here. If 50 to 75% of people get some sort of value out of it, and I'm not saying that they don't, some people do. The flip side of that is that 25 to 50% of those very same people get absolutely nothing out of it. As a matter of fact, the downside can be worse than what's stated here. It's actually regularly more than 5% that actually get worse. In other words, the treatment made things worse. Let's go to the British Psychologist Society. This is a very well-respected group. Watch what they have to say about the rate of people that don't get anything out of it, but it actually just hurts them. Notice what it says here. Between 5 and 10% of therapy clients experience a worsening of their symptoms. Did you catch that? Now, again, I'm not saying that talk therapy doesn't work for some, but I am telling you that for 25 to 50% of people, it does nothing. And for about 10% of people, it makes things worse. Now, here's the kicker. When it does work, you need to know why it works. The big push here is we want people to gain empathy or insight about other people's issues so that they will feel and understand more of what their partner is going through. Now, 71% of women report to be able to feel empathetic toward other people's issues and other people's struggles, whereas only 34% of men do the same. Now, for that roughly 30% of people, men and women together, that do have empathy for one another, this type of therapy will have a general good effect. But that leaves over 65% of people where it has either no effect or a bad effect. And let me tell you what that looks like as far as true numbers go. Of the 65% of people that are left over, the effects are only temporary because they're not empathic in the first place. And the temporary effects are split into two categories. The first category are the temporary effects of people who are just trying not to rock the boat because they have a fear of loss of the relationship. So about half of that 65%, they will act better as best they can for as long as they can pull it off because they fear losing the partner or the relationship. The other half of that 65% of people are only going to play along while they're planning how to get out. That's right. So you have three categories. About a third of people, because they're empathic, things will get a little bit better. About a third of people will just be doing it temporarily until their true nature and traits take back over and you have the same problem again. And they're only acting that way out of fear. And then the other third, roughly, will act like you want them to act and say that they're getting the correct effects from the therapy. And they're actually behind the scenes making plans to leave the relationship. Let me tell you, it's not that I don't think that talk therapy doesn't work. It does work for a select group of people, but for a large group of people, it does not. As a matter of fact, it can make things worse. Just beware of what's going on for the other 2/3 of the time. And if you are still here, do me a favor, click on one of these other videos. I'll be back very soon in another video.